Tonight, police are investigating an arson that happened just outside of Portland City Commissioner and mayoral candidate Rene Gonzalez's home.
It happened earlier today, and it has authorities on heightened alert. Fox 12's Anna Katayama has more on the story. Anna.
Yeah, Pete and Real, is a pretty scary incident for the commissioner and his family. Happened about 1:30 this morning. Portland Fire and Rescue responded to a car fire in the Eastmoreland neighborhood. The car was parked and unoccupied. Firefighters put the fire out and nobody was injured. But police do believe that this fire was intentionally set. Officers say the white 2024 Honda Accord was parked on the street in front of Gonzalez's home. Commissioner Gonzalez says his wife saw the flames and alerted him that his parents' car was on fire. He says the incident has shaken up the family and convinced him that he needs to implement additional security at his home.
As we approach the November election, we'll need to reevaluate and double down on some of those. I won't necessarily get into all of them at this point, but now that my neighborhood's been impacted, my neighbors, potentially my children and my parents, we need to go back to being more steadfast in protecting their security.
So that car was destroyed by the fire. No arrests have been made, and right now no suspect information is available. To make matters worse, Gonzalez says this isn't the first incidence of vandalism that he's dealt with since being elected. Multnomah County District Attorney Mike Schmidt released a statement today saying that everybody is free to agree or disagree with me, the commissioner, or any public servant or political candidate. But threats of vandalism, arson, violence, or any other form of illegal coercion will not be tolerated. If confirmed arson, we will find and prosecute those responsible for this act to the fullest extent of the law. Now, Commissioner Gonzalez says that each of his colleagues has reached out to him to offer their support, and he expressed gratitude today for that response. Of course, anybody with any information about the case is asked to contact Portland Police. In studio, Anna Katayama, Fox 12 Oregon.
All right, Anna, thank you.